welcome to another. Just arrived here in Bali earlier today. Just been to the beach and now I'm at my hotel. I thought I'd get on here and make this video for you this evening, or at least this evening here where I am in Bali. And in this one, I do have a big topic for you. For the chosen ones, for the targets of gang stalking, they messed up by going against you. I'd like to begin this video by likening it to a person who has a nice laptop, but then all of a sudden they're pressing the power button and it's not turning on. So if we think of someone who's narcissistic as someone who overlooks or disregards the chosen one, or a gang stalker, if we think of these types of people, they press the power button on their laptop and it doesn't turn on. Typically they'd probably get very angry and frustrated, and they would just press the button even harder, to the point where the button just completely loses its connection to the rest of the laptop, or it gets pushed in too far. And then they know it's not going to turn on. And what they might do then is pick up the laptop and just throw it at the wall. Just destroy it. Very similar to a narcissistic relationship. Because when they first got you, they idealize you, they love bomb you. And then because you're not operating the way that they want you to, because they're trying to push your buttons and you're not responding in the way that they would like, then they begin to devalue you. And then they just completely destroy you. They use you for all your worth, and then they're finally ready to discard you. But of course, they always come back with a hoover, because at some level they must recognize that it is them. It's not you. It's not that you don't have value. It's that you don't have value to them once they've been around you long enough, or once you've been around them long enough. They take away your value, quite literally, because they devalue you as well. And it's very inappropriate for someone to think of a person in that way. I mean, when we're talking about objects, appliances, if it's working and then suddenly something goes wrong, it's faulty, it's defective, even then you don't just throw it out. You try and see if you can get it repaired. But they treat you as though you're this faulty object that is beyond repair and very easy to replace, rather than a person who may have your own separate feelings and needs, your own separate life outside of them. No, they treat it as though you're their possession, as though they own you, as though you are something that belongs to them, and that they get the last word, the final say. If they say you're no good, you're no good, and then that gives them the right to just completely destroy you and discard you and just do as they like with you. It's a child's mind, a black and white mentality, where they think in terms of someone or something being perfect or flawed, all good or all bad. There's no grey area, there's nothing in between, and that mentality is very childish and immature. Psychology shows that children at a very young age think in this way. They have this black and white mentality where they think that something's either good or bad. It's either right or wrong. And of course, when people are going against the chosen ones or gang stalkers who intimidate and harass you, they actually believe that they're doing something right. That's why they're so arrogant in the way that they go about it, is because they believe without a doubt that what they're doing is right. But at least that is on the surface. If you go a little deeper, beneath that, they're actually very insecure. And this is why if you try to challenge them in any sort of way, if you push back against it, or if then when they're devaluing you, you're just like, no, I do value myself. I do believe in myself. I am capable. And if you keep going, if you keep trying, if you try and move away from them and their narrative, you will quickly see just how insecure they are about their own beliefs and opinions. Because they cannot tolerate any challenge, any opposition, any criticism, anything that goes against their narrative, their perspective, their belief of how they think things should be. You go against any of that, even just slightly, a slight change, it will drive them crazy. They will lose their minds. Because although they act so arrogant, so sure about what they're doing, as though they really believe what they're doing is right, although they act that way, deep down they are actually very insecure. Because if this was firmly fixed and based in grounded, solid, unshakable beliefs, anything outside, anything external, if it changes, it doesn't matter if you believe something different. It doesn't matter if you want to go off somewhere on your own with full belief and conviction in yourself. That shouldn't affect what they think or what they believe. Not if they're really sure and secure about it. But this is how you know, by doing that they're not. It reveals to you just how unsure they are about themselves and about what they are doing. And of course they should be, because what they're doing is not right at all. What they're doing is wrong. I mean, even with the example that I gave at the beginning of this video, if we just go back to the laptop, if you are pressing the power button and it's not turning on, that doesn't mean that you should just start pressing the button harder and harder like an absolute buffoon. And if that isn't crazy enough, you most definitely shouldn't pick up the laptop and throw it at a wall out of your own anger and frustration. But that's exactly what they do with people. It's bad enough to do that with objects, because of course things like laptops, technology, material possessions, I mean, of course we shouldn't be completely materialistic, but let's be real, these things do have value. And if you're frustrated with it, if you can't get it to function the way that you would like, then at least think about other people before you go and damage your laptop, your phone, or whatever it is. And why not go and just donate it to your local computer store or phone shop? But then again, that also reveals just how self-absorbed these people are and how much they just completely lack empathy, not only for you but for other people as well. It's like it never even crossed their minds that although they may not have found value in you, because they could manipulate or brainwash you to be the way that they would like, maybe someone else could find value in you. But no, it's just all about themselves. It's all about their perspective. It's all about how they see it. It's all about how it impacts their feelings about themselves. It all revolves around themselves. And again, that just reveals just how insecure they are. How much they actually lack confidence in themselves, what they're doing, and how they feel about themselves, their own self-worth. And that's just why they treat you in the way that they do. And this is the same. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, what type of narcissist you're dealing with, a gang stalker, whoever it is, the same. They're all very insecure. I can tell you that there's no way that anyone could go full force like that into devaluing, harming, intimidating, destroying someone, and actually being fully confident in doing that. There's no way. That is just not even possible if you look at the psychology behind it. I mean, the reality is that if you're a genuine human being and you have all of the components of a human being, you have empathy, especially affective empathy, even if it's a case where it could be someone coming to attack you, or even someone coming to attack your own child, and you to defend yourself, or someone you're with, and you attack them. Maybe they get hurt, maybe they die. Even though that person may have posed a threat to you, a danger, at some level you're still going to feel shame. You're still going to feel like a bad person. You're still going to feel like what you did was wrong. No one is ever going to harm someone in any sort of way and feel like they're fully justified in doing that. Because the reality is that no one has the right to do that. The only being or entity that has the right to have that level of power over someone's life, especially to cause harm or to take someone's life, is our Creator, is God. But these types of people, they like to play God, and you ever bring God into a conversation with them and they begin to feel very uncomfortable. They don't feel right at all, because they know that what they're doing is putting them in a position of power where they do not deserve to be. And it's almost like they're seeing themselves as God. They're seeing themselves as the all-knowing, the all-powerful, the all-seeing, when that is a position that they should not begin. And maybe that's why they feel so insecure, because the ultimate judge is God. But they want to play the Creator. They want to play that role. And what gives them the right to judge the chosen ones? What gives them the right to judge anyone? I believe it also says in the Bible, although I was born a Christian, but I'm not particularly religious now so much. I'm more spiritual. But if this is a quote from the Bible, it is an excellent quote, and there are many great quotes from there as well. But I believe that it says, correct me if I'm wrong, don't judge anyone before you judge yourself. And is that not something that none of these narcissists or gang stalkers do? They're so quick to point the finger at you. They're so quick to judge you. They're so quick to portray you in a bad light. But how are they able to do that? They're able to do that because they're disconnected from themselves. Because that's the only thing that would stop them. That's the only thing that would keep them in check. is that before they try and step in to your life, before they try and intervene, they would immediately self-reflect and think, who am I to get involved? Who am I to target this person, to harm them, to act like the Almighty, the judge, jury, and executioner? Who are they to do that? Are they good role models? Are they someone who should be leading the way? Are they someone who people should follow? And if not, then what are they doing? Because if you want to set an example for everyone, you need to be that example yourself first, before anything else. But what do? These types of people, they become very corrupt. They start doing immoral things, engage in illegal activities. Is that a good example to set for anyone? Is that a good example to set for our children? Is that what we want them to grow up to be? People who go around manipulating, harassing people, betraying them, destroying their lives. I know I would not want to set that kind of example for my child. And I'm sure many of you would not as well. And by recognizing that, it should make you realize that people who go against the chosen ones, gang stalkers, these people are not good people. They are very bad people. They're absolutely awful. And that does not mean that we've got to be the same as go out trying to destroy gang stalkers' lives. Of course not. We want to separate ourselves from them as much as we can. I believe it was Gandhi who said that an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. And is that not the truth? What if I told you that every person in this world who became corrupt, started doing bad, evil things, all of them, they all started doing that because someone did it to them. An evil person in their life affected them in some negative way, harmed them. And then it's like it affected them at a soul level, to where they then thought, all right, I'm going to go out and do that now. I'm going to go and do the exact same thing that was done to me. That's the mentality that they have. And I can tell you, if you do that, you will become lost. And it will be very difficult for you to find your way back. They messed up by going against you. They really did. They shouldn't have done that. Because even though if somehow some gang stalkers, some narcissistic people at some point had good intentions for why they were doing what they were doing, and as though they were trying to lead as a good role model, as an example for people, the reality is that they've actually shown us everything that we should not want to become. We should not want to be anything like them, because everything that they do, it is wrong. And quite honestly, I don't care who they may be doing these kinds of things to, who they're gang stalking, who they're harassing. It doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't matter at all. The law is there for a reason. And if people are doing things wrong, if people are breaking the law, then let the law get involved. There's no reason to go and take the law into your own hands, because by doing that, you are breaking the law yourself. So that makes you an active criminal. And that's what these types of people have become. regardless of whether they initially had good intentions, regardless of whatever was initially done to them. None of that matters. It doesn't matter at all, because look at what they're doing now. That's who they are. They may not have been that way before, but that's who they are now. And by knowing that, you need to be very careful when these types of people are coming around you, when they're targeting you, when they're harassing you. They may be coming at you acting all self-righteous, as though you're the problem, as though you're meant to have done something wrong, and they're policing you. But no, actually, you should be looking at them like they're these gangsters, these criminals, and you need to dissociate from them. You need to stay far away from them. It doesn't matter what kind of stance they're coming at you with. That's irrelevant. That's just in their delusional minds. The reality is that they are bad news. They're only going to cause trouble for you. They're going to bring problems into your life because they are a problem. They're a problem for themselves in their own lives, and they're only going to bring that stuff around you. So without a doubt, they did mess up by going against you. And really, there's no reason for us to go against anyone, especially not over a long period of time. We need to work with people. Doesn't matter who they are. And I just can't understand that mentality myself. It doesn't matter who the target is, or chosen or not. We should always want people to be better. Why would you want anyone to be worse? It doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter what they've done. It doesn't matter if it's a murderer, a bank robber, a rapist. We should want all of these people to be better. Why would you want them to be worse for our society? Because even these types of people, when they get caught, they go to jail, and after a certain amount of time, they come back out into the community. So these gang stalkers, whoever it is that they think they're policing or they're targeting, they're not helping anyone. They're making everything worse for all of us. And that is the reality of it. And I've quite easily come to this conclusion just in 20 minutes of this video. So with all of the years that these gang stalkers are doing what they do, of course, they must realize this as well. But unlike us, they don't care. They're narcissistic, they're self-absorbed, and they lack empathy. They don't care about anyone but themselves. It's all about their own feelings. They don't care about the effect that it has on the community. That may not even cross their minds. Even if it does, it just doesn't matter to them. It's just all about themselves. And again, by knowing that, you need to be very careful when they're targeting you, when they're stalking you, because they will just bring problems into your life. But also, those of you who have been isolated, you're targeted individuals, you feel like you've been ostracized from the community, honestly, you're not missing much. You're better off outside of it. Because just look at society these days. It's all corrupt. It's all just gone bad. The best thing you can do for yourself these days is to ostracize yourself from society. It really is. And I've experienced that myself. Just by going my own way and not being around anyone, just not having any friends, any relationships, any family around me, and instead just focusing on my work. Just by doing that, it changed my entire life, and I've been traveling for the last 5 years. But for my entire life, being in society, having family and friends around me, that didn't get me anywhere. It got me nowhere in life. It's only when I started being gang stalked, when everyone turned against me, and I was shut out of the community, then my entire life began to change in a very short period of time, which would make it self-evident to everyone just how bad society it is. And of course it is, because just look at how many narcissists, how many gang stalkers are in society today, and they're acting like they're authority figures, as though there's someone you can trust, as though they're trying to keep out the bad people and they're good. No, it's the opposite. It really is. Not all the time, of course, but a lot of times it is the exact opposite. That they're the ones who are causing the problems. I mean, sometimes it could be the case that the gang stalkers and the target are bad. I mean, of course, I'm not ruling that out at all. That could be a point, but here's the thing. If someone's that bad, then why do you need to gang stalk them for such a long period of time? Where is the sense in that? And it just reveals that these people are mentally ill. That's why it goes on for such a long time, because they have no feeling. That's what it all comes down to. The same way that they don't feel any empathy, and they can hurt you, and they feel nothing. They're not satisfied. No matter what they do to you, they will never be satisfied. They can intimidate and harass you for the rest of your life. It's still not going to be enough. And it's not going to be enough because they're not enough for themselves. And they without you. You'll see these gang stalker groups, they're all together. It's like they're having so much fun. And now you're missing out because you're cut out from society, you're ostracized, and you've got a bunch of people harassing you. Honestly, it's the opposite. They're envious and jealous of you as the isolated target. Because again, they feel nothing for you. There's no empathy. They don't care. So how can they feel anything good? They can't. If you're sensitive to positive emotions, you're going to be sensitive to other people's emotions as well. That is a psychological fact. So essentially, we're looking at these mindless, lifeless zombies. That's what we're dealing with. That's why they are the way that they are. And that's why they're never going to change. Because the first thing they would have to do to change is accept accountability, accept that they are the bad people, they are the ones doing things wrong. They would have to self-reflect and go within and deal with that shame as a result of all of the bad things that they have done to people, all of the lies that they have told. And only then would they begin to heal. Only then would they become more sensitive, they would start feeling more, and they would begin to feel very bad for you and anyone else that they have targeted. And not only that, but then they can actually begin to have a good time in life. They can actually begin to experience life to the fullest. And that's just what they have to do. This is why so many of these people have anxiety disorders, they're depressed, they're so angry, so irritable, because they can't just go within and accept their shortcomings. Instead, they want to act like they're so perfect, when really they're not. They're not good role models, they're not a good example. The odds are that most of them will never come to this conclusion. They will never accept that. And that's why they're going to live out their karma for the rest of their lives. They're never going to be happy. They're always going to be miserable. They're always going to be just pretending like they're having a good time. Targeting people outside of their relationship, outside of their group. And making it seem like you're the odd one out, alienating you. Because that's the only way that they can get a sense of belonging. That's the only way that they can experience any sense of togetherness. It's by viewing someone else as an outsider. As for myself, I don't do that. I am more inclusive of people. I don't like to alienate anyone, as long as they're not actively trying to harm me or bring problems into my life, or problems for anyone who is close to me. If someone respects me, I respect them. And it's as simple as that. And that's the way that it should be. It's never going to be that way with them, though. And this is why you do need to protect yourself. You do need to be very careful. But yeah, that's my little rant on that. Why these people should never have gone against you. And I am a full believer in that. We should never go against anyone. I mean, even some people out there who, they may be really bad, they may be really destructive. I mean, we've got to understand that something must have happened to them to cause them to be that way. Inside, it's just a very broken, traumatized person. And they're miserable in life. We have to have some compassion for them. But this has been going on since the beginning of time. And people just never seem to get it right. And I'm not saying that it's easy to accept some of these deranged, degenerative people. I'm not saying that at all. But we have to start somewhere so that we can finally end the cycle. We need to focus on helping people to heal rather than just endlessly punishing and destroying them just so we can feel a little bit better about ourselves in the moment. We have to think about the bigger picture. We have to think about the future. Otherwise, when is this going to end? Of course, I understand, it's painful to experience these things, but we have to be strong. That's really what it comes down to. We have to have the internal strength to be able to deal with these types of people and to not get sucked into it to where we're becoming like them. One thing I always promise myself is that I will never become like those types of people. Persecute others for whatever reason. They gang up on them in these groups. I've seen it so many times. And although I may not have always known the full story, and some people could say I acted as an enabler or flying monkey, but I don't think that way. I mean, you don't have to gang up on someone or harm them just to not be an enabler or flying monkey. I mean, by doing that, you're an enabler and a flying monkey for someone else, someone who's causing destructive harm. Anyway, I'm going to look at the live chat now. Let's see what people are saying. Thank you for the donation there. Thank the Lord. I appreciate it. I appreciate all donations, no matter how small. You can donate through the super chat here, or by giving a super thanks in the comment section. And also you can donate to my PayPal, which is paypal.me/Narc Survivor. But George says some people are just waiting for any tiny excuse to justify abusing you. You know, I'm all for justice, but what these types of people do, that is not justice at all. We have a legal system for a reason. For people who are actually bad, for people who are doing something wrong, breaking the law. I mean, I will say, even the legal system, it is really outdated when you look at it. I mean, prisons, for example, these are just punishments taken from the Middle Ages. The same thing with the death sentence, which is still active in many countries around the world. I mean, at some point we have to move past this. Even with criminals, I mean, prisons around the world are getting so full. It should reveal that there is a problem in society. But of course, I understand as well that at this point in time now, we do have over 8 billion people on the planet. And of course, it's very difficult to manage all of these people and their mental health. So, in many ways, it really needs to be done on a mass scale. These types of things, it needs to be taught in schools at a young age, and it needs to be promoted more. Maybe more mental health services should be provided by the government. But the reality is that the people who are in positions of power, they really don't care too much about it. I mean, clearly they don't. If they did, then they would be more focused on the cause of things rather than just the effect. But that's just it. I mean, many of you may be surprised if you knew where a lot of the taxes go to, and where a lot of the time of the government officers is invested in. Not really anything to do with helping any of us, even though we are living in their societies and we're contributing in so many ways, but they're not even there to protect us. Miss Catra Love says, I have a question. Why do they try to destroy you when they can't get the same thing from you anymore? Well, it's the same thing as, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video. It's like if you got a laptop and they're pressing the power button and it just doesn't turn on anymore, then they just get angry and frustrated. It's like, you know, they feel entitled to get the laptop to function in the way that they would like, and it doesn't. So then they just take their anger and frustration out on it. And with you, they may feel like they're entitled to you, and they're entitled to what they want from you. And when they don't get that, they feel like you're challenging their uniqueness and their superiority, their grandiose delusion. So you're challenging the false self, and then in that moment they feel like they're in a fight for their lives. They take it as an attack, and then they want to, in their minds, defend themselves by destroying you. But anyway, that is the message for today. For my chosen ones out there. And please help to get this message out there to more chosen ones by hitting that thumbs up underneath the video, and by hitting subscribe, clicking all notifications. That way you will be notified when I go live in the future as well. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Donations are greatly appreciated, no matter how small. You can donate through my PayPal. It is paypal.me/Narc Survivor. And if you'd like to book a one-on-one coaching session with me, just go to my website. It is narcsurvivor.co.uk. Follow me on Instagram as well. It's Narc Survivor YouTube. Alright, that's it for this video. Live from Bali. Thank you all for joining me, and I'll speak to you in another live video very soon.